On behalf of the Department of English and Internal Quality Assurance Cell, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar College, Betai, Nadia, West Bengal, India. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to this web lecture titled Stress Management in Everyday Life. We have asked Dr. Parnosha Gupta Roy, who is the director of and she is right now working as a clinical psychologist at from the University and psychology at Bishop Cotton's Women's Christian College, Bangalore. So without any more, I'd like to welcome Dr. Parnosha Gupta Roy to lecture. Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our invitation. Over to you. I am requesting all the participants to turn off your audio, otherwise we have no option. We will be compelled to move you. Okay. I think it's okay right now. Okay, ma'am, over to you. Please start.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm really happy to get this opportunity to present my session today with such a lively audience, and from the WhatsApp group that has been created, I see that people are very excited for this session. I just wanted to know a few things. Will I continue the discussion in English, or will it be better if I continue in Bengali or some other language?
Yes, people are joining here from different parts of India.
Okay.
So I think it will be problematic. It will be. So please continue. Continue in English. Okay.
Okay.
And as well as in Hindi, in Bengali.
Okay, I'll try to use a mixture of languages to make the lecture, as interesting as possible, and so that more people can understand and can benefit from this session.
People for different parts of India, they are joining.
All right. That's okay. Great. So thank you for giving such a wonderful bit of introduction about me. Today's session is about stress management, and I think in the current scenario, especially given the fact that we have recently suffered a great loss in the Bollywood film industry, we never expected that somebody so young could kill himself. Somebody whom we always see smiling on the screen, and suddenly the news comes in that he has killed himself, and the social media posts everywhere. Even now, most of the posts are about Sushant Singh Rajput. Also, this happened in such a time when the whole world is facing a crisis like nobody has faced before. We are currently going through a pandemic, the coronavirus pandemic, and most of us are homebound right now. This coronavirus situation has posed such a big problem, a problem which we never expected that we would ever have to see in our life. The current levels of stress are very high among all the people. Many patients, many of my clients, many other people are trying to reach out to me through Facebook and other social media, and they are telling that this situation of being homebound, of being confined to home, is creating a lot of stress in them, not only in the adults but also among all the children. So it is very important that we focus on our mental health now much more than ever before, because I think somebody is presenting. Okay. Yeah, can you see me? I don't know. Just let me know if you all can hear me.
Yes, ma'am. You are perfectly audible and you are visible too.
All right. Thank you.
I am requesting all the participants to turn off your audio and video at the same time. Do not present your screen. Thank you.
All right. No, it's okay. This can happen. It's not a big thing because many of us, we are not very used to using technology. And as I was saying, this coronavirus situation has forced us into using technology like never before. Before, we used to use our mobile phones and computers, just to do a few official work and for using social media. But now we are being forced to hold meetings and webinars and seminars on screen using technology. Just today, I was discussing with one of my friends, one of my colleagues, in fact, that previously when such sessions were held, I had to travel to different parts of India. But now, this situation, it has forced people, to explore technology more, to explore the possibilities of, staying at home and learning, which we never thought was possible before, because our education system is such that we go to school, we go to college, we attend different lectures, but the emphasis on online learning has increased a lot. This itself is kind of a stress. This itself is new to us, and anything new is stressful. So let us first examine what stress is. I had mentioned that I would like to speak about stress management in everyday life. So what is stress? So I would like a few inputs from the various participants and also from you, sir. What do you consider stressful as, or what do you think stress is? I would request anybody to answer, because this is a webinar. It's not just a lecture. I would like if somebody speaks also. I can't hear anybody, so I'll just continue, okay? So stress is anything. Yeah, stress, Mr. Rajshekhar, you're saying stress is an intervention. Stress is not an intervention, basically. Anything, any circumstance or any situation or any factor. Yeah, stress is a physical strain, you say. Any factor which stretches our coping strategies is stress. So stress can be of two kinds. Yeah, stress is pressure. It is actually the situation which restricts us to act naturally. Somebody is writing. The comments are disappearing before I can even see the name properly. Yeah, which we cannot control through our coping mechanism. All right. So yeah, most of you are right. Stress is anything which puts a pressure on our coping resources, on our coping strategies. So stress can be of two kinds. It can be positive, it can be negative. Positive stress. What is positive stress? Let me give you an example. For example, you are organizing a party at home. You are taking a lot of responsibility, inviting people, looking into the menu, looking into the food preferences of people, and ultimately seeing to it that people have a very meaningful conversation when they are there in the party. So it is a big responsibility and it is quite stressful for the organizer. But does it have a negative impact on the person? No. At the end of the day, the person is quite happy about it. The person is enjoying the entire experience. Even if it is one kind of stress, it is positive. On the other hand, there is a different kind of stress, which is negative. So negative stress or distress. The positive stress, we call it eustress, while the negative stress, we call it distress. So negative stress is anything which creates a negative impact on our mind, on our body, which physically exhausts us, and mentally we also feel very disturbed and very frustrated or depressed or anxious. And the situation is, outside of the coping skills that we have. So stress does have a, eustress or distress, the positive stress or negative stress. For a short time, it does have a good thing attached with it. If the stressful factor or the stressor, as we call it, if the stressor is short-lived, then it can push us to utilize certain potential which is hidden in us, so that we can achieve new things, so that we can achieve new boundaries. However, if the stressor is long term, then it creates certain disruptions in our body, physiologically, as well as in our mind. So any stressful factor, especially when I was talking about, this coronavirus situation, it itself is quite a long stretch situation. We are under lockdown for quite a long time and we don't have any answer when the situation is going to end. This has added to the already stressful factors that were already present in many people's lives. So long-term exposure to any kind of stressor, it creates various kind of imbalances in our body as well as in our mind. Let me start with what are the imbalances that happen in our mind. First of all, it can create feelings of depression. It can create feelings of frustration. It can create feelings of anxiety. It can create feelings of helplessness and hopelessness and even sometimes worthlessness. Yeah, somebody was mentioning about this use of technology being very disruptive. I'll definitely come to that. So when the stressor is long term, it has an impact on our mind. So what is the impact that it has on our body? Our body always like to stay in a state of balance, which we call homeostasis. I'm sure you all have heard the term homeostasis. It is a sense of equilibrium. It is a sense of balance, in which our entire body, our physiology tries to stay in. So when the stress is long term, it puts an extra pressure on our sympathetic nervous system and it creates different kind of problems in our body which are more long term. For example, a person might start suffering from lifestyle diseases like hypertension or blood sugar problems, or even the person might, start having different irritable bowel syndrome type syndromes and many other physical problems. So it is very important to see that we don't go into this long-term kind of thing and we take action, when we feel that there is a stressor in our life which has started creating problems, we have to take action about it. So can you all just mention a few factors which you feel are stressful in your lives? Just write a few factors which you feel are stressful in your lives. Yes, somebody mentioned about technology. This use of technology, it is indeed stressful because we were not used to it. And as I said, anything new is stressful. Like having to attend this webinar from your homes, you all can have interruptions, somebody can come and call you and there might be, extra sounds, and it is difficult to maintain that level of focus with so many things happening all around you, which probably wouldn't have happened if you all would have been there present in a seminar hall. Your focus of attention would be directed towards the speaker. So any other stressors that you feel are, exhausting your resources right now? Anybody can speak up, or anybody for achieving goal? Okay. So somebody mentioned about not achieving goal and also about work stress. These are very big stressors in our lives. So let me first talk about few of the coping strategies. What are coping strategies basically? Coping strategies are those strategies or techniques that we use to counter the effects of stress. Yeah, definitely corona effect. So any kind of stress might be there in our lives. It can be from, a work related situation. It might be from a personal life situation. It can be from anything. It can be relationship stress. It can be, the stress of even unfulfilled dreams, because we all have different kind of dreams. It can be, as somebody mentioned, the reduction in salary or social discrimination, XYZ. It can be because of any factor. But when we learn the basic coping strategies of how to deal with stress, then we can use that in different situations. So what are the techniques that one can use to, come out of different stressful situations? First and foremost, it is very important to set a goal. It is very important to set a goal. Now, what kind of goals do we have? We have to decide what is the ultimate thing we want in life. What is the basic motivating factor for us? It might be something external, it might be something internal as well. So, what is an external motivating factor or goal, and what is an internal motivating factor or goal? External motivating factors are things like, salary or money or fame, which motivates us externally. For example, somebody goes to work, works for the whole month with the expectation that at the end of the month, the person will get a salary. So that is an external motivating factor. Well, there might be some other person who is creating music or who writes novels or books or poetry. Yeah, I'll definitely throw some light on anger management, Mona Lisa. So we were talking about the internal motivating factors. Writing something or creating something not with the expectation of getting rewarded from the external world, but just out of the joy of it is an internal motivating factor. So first of all, I would request all of you, to take a pen and paper and just write down the things that I'm saying. I would also, share a presentation with the organizers so that the presentation can be, shared with all of you, so that you can go through whatever points I have discussed today. So, this goal can be decided once we find out the motivating factor. What motivates me? What it is I actually want from life. Now, people make various kind of mistakes when they try to find out this motivating factor. Now, what is that mistake? For example, I ask a student who's studying in class 10. I ask that person, what do you want from life? What do you want to ultimately do in your life or be in your life? Where do you see yourself as 20 years from now? So that person, most of the time says, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a teacher, I want to be an engineer or any profession. But ultimately, the profession is not the goal. Profession is a part of life. Just like we have a family life, just like we have a social life, profession is a part of life. But it is not the ultimate, goal of life. So if we just write down what are the things that I enjoy doing. For example, if there is somebody who likes talking to various kind of people, or if the person likes it, if various people praise that person, and there is something written about that person in the newspaper and all, so definitely the person must understand that he or she has a need for fame or popularity. Whereas there are some other people who like buying stuff. They really have a very good time, buying things and shopping for new clothes or shopping for new gadgets. They like luxury. They like eating in big hotels. They like big cars and big houses. So these are the people who would, who should think about, doing something in life which would get them a lot of money. Again, there are some other people who need power, who like it if people obey them, who like it if, all people, listen to them when they are saying something and obey them and do as they are saying. So these people should choose professions based on, those kind of professions which can give them some kind of power. For example, the person can, go into, the police service or the politics or even teaching. Teaching also, it gives some kind of power over the students. Now, if this kind of a goal is fixed, then the person can select the right path of career. There is, no particular age when a person has to choose a career. Warren Buffett, his career took off after he was 50 years old. Even Walt Disney, he started off very late in his life. So if any of you feel that it is your career which is, creating a lot of stress in your life, then I think it's time to rethink. Just try to rethink that whether there are small alterations in your work life that you can do which can reduce the stress, or whether there is any major shift that you have to make. Many people have suffered great losses during this coronavirus situation. Their salaries have been cut. Many people who are in business, they have lost a lot of customers and have had a lot of dip in their income. So it is high time. This situation has actually given us the time and the opportunity when we can reassess our lives, and we can rethink about how we want to spend the rest of our life. What if another such situation comes up? Are we prepared enough to face another situation which is similar to this? So there has to be a goal. This goal will be our target. Now, when we set a goal, the goal has to have certain characteristics about it. First of all, the goal must be simple. It can't be something complicated like 3 pages long goal. Goal has to be very simple and realistic, and it has to be set according to timeline. For example, you can set a goal of for the next 3 months, and another goal which has to be fulfilled within the next 2 years, and there can be another goal which you have to fulfill within the next 5 years and 10 years, and then lifetime. So if you set your goal according to these 5 time parameters, then the goal becomes much more realistic and much more practical. If there is somebody who studies, for example, arts, has taken up the subjects which are under humanities in their +2, and they say that I want to become a doctor. So that is an unrealistic goal, because the line of study the person has chosen is not in sync with what the person's goal is. So the goal has to be very realistic and very simply worded. Now, to activate a goal, it just can't run in our heads. We have to write it down, and we have to write it down very clearly, and we have to set a date, so that every day whenever we look at that sheet, that date will chase us, and it will make us work more. It will make us utilize our time more, because at the end of the day, the time just goes by, and when we almost reach towards the end of the time period, we suddenly feel that okay, now it's time. For example, many students, like I think some of you are students also over here, many of you have this habit of procrastinating throughout the year, and when it's time for project submission or the submission or some exam, hurry up, and you have to end the practicals or the file, and you have to submit it. Whatever quality does not matter at that time. The quality does not matter. You just have to submit it or give your exam. And many students also say after the exam that okay, I have studied for only 2 days and I have scored so much. I've scored a first class or something. What if I would have studied for the whole year? So if we set goals according to small time frames, this kind of a hurry also doesn't come. This kind of it is stressful, if you don't study for the whole year and finally just 2 days before the exam you take out your syllabus and these fat books, it will obviously create a lot of stress in you. So if you would have had a goal plan when you would have finished these certain chapters within the first 2 months of college, and these 2 chapters within the next 2 months of college, and so on, it would have been much more easier for you. So this is the first thing, goal setting. If we set goals properly, if we set goals realistically, we will be much at ease. So this is the first strategy. The second strategy is we have to use our support system. All of us have different kinds of support system. For example, for some, it can be the family who provides a lot of support. For some others, it can be, our friend circle or our teachers or whoever. We all have support systems. If you all don't have support systems, then you must cultivate more relationship, cultivate more friends or more people who can help you in your time of need. So if we have a support system who's ready, who's there, who can support you when you need them, Why do we need people? For example, um, there is a tap which has broken in your house and the water is leaking. If you know somebody who knows somebody, some plumber, then you can just call up that person. Okay, listen, do you have the plumber's number? Can you just send the number to me? I'll call up the plumber because the tap in my house is broken and the water is leaking. The whole house is getting flooded. So if you're not connected with other people, you would go mad just looking for the plumber's number, which would be very stressful for you at that time. So having a list of people in your phone book, like we all use mobile phones nowadays, we hardly write it down in some diary. Like in our childhood, we used to, write down in our diary the various numbers of various people. Now we have all those numbers saved in our mobile phones. So have a list of people, whom you can reach out in different situations. Now, if you can, I would request somebody to, switch off the microphone. The noise is very distracting. Okay, so if you can categorize the people who are there in your contact list under various segments. For example, people who you can call in case of a medical emergency, people whom you can call in case of some government paper related work, some other people whom you can call whenever you are feeling very low and you just want to talk to somebody, or if you just call that person, the person just comes over, you can just visit their houses. So if there are these various categories, it will be easier to look for their numbers when you are under stress. Now, the third and the most important thing that creates a lot of stress in our life is negativity. Now, what is negativity? Negativity is any negative inputs which can come from outside as well as from inside. And let me give you different kinds of examples. So, what is the negativity that comes from outside? For example, somebody keeps on telling you, "Arey, you are good for nothing, todara kichu hobe na." This kind of talk, many times people hear. So that is a negativity which comes from outside. And then there is negativity which comes from inside also. For example, I'm reading a poetry which is going to come for my exam, and it is very long and very difficult, and I don't understand the meaning of it. I might think that I have chosen the wrong subject. It is not the right subject for me. I can't do it. I won't get good marks. I should have taken, some other stream of study. So that is one kind of negativity which is coming from within. It is not given by somebody else. It is something which I am generating myself. So you all must, take out a sheet of paper, divide it into 2 columns, and write down the various kind of negativities that you usually face. Yeah, I'll definitely talk about how to deal with this negativity. First, we have to write down what are the sources of negativity. For example, somebody is, constantly getting negative inputs from their family members. Somebody else is constantly getting negative inputs from their teachers. Somebody is constantly getting negative inputs from their classmates. Somebody is constantly getting negative inputs from their, partner or boyfriend or girlfriend or husband or wife or whoever. Now, that is the source of negativity. Yeah, neighbors also. That is the source of negativity which is coming from outside. So just give a heading outside and write down the sources of negativity which are coming from outside. And then again, there will be a second column where you can write, the types of negativity that come from inside you. What are the general kinds of negative talk that goes on inside your head about yourself? So make a list. Now, when you have made this list, comes the time of how to tackle this negativity. Negativity increases through negative discussions and negative associations. So what kind of negative discussions and negative associations a person can have in their daily life? One is, newspapers give a lot of negativity into our life. So I always ask people that read the positive things which come in newspapers, the positive news, the positive articles, read the sports page, read about new discoveries or new good things that are happening around you, and just ignore the negative things. The same kind of news goes on and on and on and on. It is not good practice to get up early in the morning and read negative things that is happening. all around us from the newspaper. Yeah, is negative motivation related to negative stress? Um, Anything negative is negative. There is nothing which is negative and positive at the same time. Negative is negative. Okay, so this is one source that puts a lot of negativity into our minds. Second is there are various kind of serials or movies or anything which we see on YouTube or Netflix or TV, in fact, that deals with negative topics. For example, there are these Saas Bahu serials. It stretches the topic of how there are clashes between different family members and all negative topics, no? So does it make you feel good at the end of the day? Just ask yourself, do you really feel good after watching it? There are also various kind of movies. Like, I am a great lover of good movie, but I generally try to avoid movies which create a negative impact on our mind. When you leave the cinema hall or when you stop watching the movie, you feel sad, you don't feel happy. So those also add to the negativity that is already there in our life. There can be negative novels also. Like, I myself, I read a lot of books. I'm a book lover. I have lots of collections of different kinds of novels and books. But generally, I choose those which I feel make me happy or I learn something from it. So these are the sources that we can just cut off. Now, there are also other sources that we cannot cut off. Yeah, I can definitely suggest some good books or some good videos to you. I'll do it at the end of the discussion. As I was saying, these are the kind of negativities which you can chop off from your life, and then again there are some other kinds of negativities which you can't do anything about. You can't just simply chop off. For example, if somebody has a very negative mother-in-law, you can't just cut off the relationship with your mother-in-law. It's better to learn how to handle your mother-in-law better, so that ultimately there'll be a very loving and good and cordial relationship between you two. So what are the techniques that you can use? First of all, when we are managing other relationships, we have to find out why is it that this person is so negative about you, or why is it that this person has a habit of giving negative inputs to you. So first try to find that out. It might be a difficult thing which I am saying. So if you all have some people in your life and you're not being able to find out why this person is putting so much negativity on you, you can just get in touch with me and we can have a discussion about it, and I'll help you analyze the situation and find out how or why this person picks you and puts different kind of negative thoughts and negative statements on your head. Now, negativity affects us a lot. For example, you have gone to a wedding ceremony. We all dress up very nicely and look at ourselves in the mirror before going, and we only step out of the house when we know we are looking perfect and we are looking the best that we can. Isn't it so? So when we go to this marriage ceremony, for example, there are like 9 people who have said that you're looking very nice and this dress is suiting you a lot. But in the marriage ceremony, there is probably somebody who doesn't like you much, and comes to you and says, "Oh ma, ki rokom lagche toke dekhte, bhalo lagche na, eta keno porechish?" I just say, "You're looking very bad. This dress is not suiting you." Now, what happens? Just think for a moment. What happens? 9 people have said that you are looking nice. You yourself know you are looking nice. And this 10th person comes up and says, "You're not looking nice." And we focus on the 10th person, right? We focus on that one single negative comment that we face. So the best technique is to just think when at that time itself. If there is something that drops on your head, a crow is flying above your head and just poops on your head, what will you do? You will just remove the poop immediately, right? You won't leave it for 5 years and all. You won't, after 5 years also, you won't just tell people, look, there is that crow shit on my head. You'll just remove it immediately But when people dump negative statements on our head, we just let it be there inside our head and we keep brooding about it. For example, in this marriage ceremony I was talking about, we'll just, keep on thinking, oh, is it so? I'm not looking nice. I wish my home would have been right next to this ceremony place. I would have gone home and immediately changed my dress, or I just would have gone home and stayed there. I wouldn't have shown my face to anybody. You will, start avoiding pictures in that marriage ceremony. You will try to hide in some shade and you will not like to talk to many people. You will just eat fast and come back home, because that one single comment affects you so much that you start feeling very uncomfortable and very uneasy, and there is a lot of lack of confidence in you, which shows on your face. Your face will start looking dull, and actually you'll start looking lifeless and not nice. You were looking very nice and very confident, and you had a lovely smile on your face, but that one single comment, it affected you because it hit you in your subconscious mind. Our mind has two layers, the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. Like, the conscious mind is only 10% and the subconscious mind, it has 90% power. So the conscious mind is lying dormant at that time. The conscious mind has the power of judgment. It can decide, what is right or what is wrong, and if this is correct or this is not. And there is the subconscious mind, which has 90% power. This statement, this one single statement, it goes directly into the subconscious mind and it gets magnified and it starts showing its effect. So if we just think for a moment, if we use some strategies to just convert it standing right there, that wait a minute, 9 people have said I'm looking nice. I myself have looked at myself in the mirror, and this one person tells me I'm not looking nice. I think that person has a bad taste. I know I'm looking nice. Will you feel as bad after that? You'll not feel that bad. Just think about it. So many of you were mentioning, I can see in the comments, many of you all were mentioning about Albert Ellis and rational emotive behavior therapy. Psychotherapy, if we go into the stream of psychotherapy, there are so many kinds of psychotherapy, and one of them is the rational emotive behavior therapy. Here, Albert Ellis, in the rational emotive behavior therapy, Albert Ellis specially mentions about nothing being written on stone. We feel very sad when somebody puts a negative comment about us. We feel very sad if somebody criticizes us. But as Albert Ellis has said, why must always everybody praise us? Are we like the king of the world or something? Why is it sad that somebody is, saying something negative about us? So, yeah, okay, Monica, you just smile when you face a negative comment. That's a very good strategy, but smiling just with your lips and taking the comment into your mind, then it will affect you all the same. You're smiling, you're showing the other person that you don't care, or okay, thank you for your comment, something like that. But actually, if the comment affects you, even if you don't show it, the effects will start showing. Because here we are not talking about how you are managing the situation. We are talking about how you are managing yourself, how you are managing your own conscious and subconscious mind, and how you are managing your own emotions. Now, there is another example which I love giving to my students and in my classes. We all watch TV, right? Now, when we watch TV, we usually keep the remote control in our own hands. We don't give it to the, Kaku next door and say, Kaku, please change the channel, I'm watching the TV. The remote is there right in our hands, right? But when it comes to emotions, the remote is definitely in other people's hands. Other people say nice things about us and we feel happy. Other people say bad things about us and we start feeling very sad and very weird. We might get angry, or we might even become depressed. We might start feeling uneasy. We might start feeling very restless. So one of you were mentioning, I saw in the comments about anger management. Now, if you give the remote control of your emotions to other people, they'll definitely utilize it in such a manner which puts you at a disadvantage and that person at an advantage. Now, getting angry is also eliciting one kind of reaction from you. We don't get angry on the wall because we know if we scream at the wall or if we bang the wall, we won't get any reaction. For example, there are, toxic peoples in your life. Now, these toxic people, they don't, go and quarrel with the wall. They quarrel with you, right? They say these things to you because you are reacting. And they kind of actually want you to react. That is why they are saying these things to you. So the best strategy is to count 5. Just count 5 before saying anything or doing anything. Just 5 seconds. You can think like this, 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005. So 5 seconds. Within these 5 seconds, trust me, 80% of your anger will reduce and you can behave in a much more civil manner and you can put your points across, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to convey to the person. So just write down this point which I just mentioned to you. Yeah. Varsha, you're saying that it's a very effective strategy. I know it is a very effective strategy because I have taught this technique to so many, like thousands of people, and it works. Okay. So I would just ask you all to place some more questions to me so that I can answer them. What more do you want to know about? Because I have just mentioned, few basic strategies which you can use when you are trying to, conflict management, and some more questions. I'll answer it all together. Okay, let's start with conflict management. And I think, okay, how do you control expectations? Okay. All right. So first, let me talk about how we can manage conflicts. First rule of conflict management is keeping a calm head. If you are calm, only then you can convey what you're trying to say to the other person in the proper words. Your target is not to scream on that person. I'll give you an example which will make it easier for you to understand. For example, I have a cook in my house, okay? Now, that cook has prepared a dish which is very spicy, and my son is not being able to eat it. So next day if she comes and I start screaming at her, what is the ultimate target that I want? I want to explain it to her that don't put so much of chilies on the dish because my son is not being able to eat it. Now, if I start screaming about that, she is also a person and she'll also scream back, or she might, suffer from a lot of negative talk inside her head and she might ultimately quit the job, which will again create more stress in my life because I then have to take charge of the cooking till I, get somebody else to do the work for me. What was my target? My target was to make her understand that please don't put so much of chilies in the food. So if I would have said the same thing in a very nice manner to her, okay, listen, yesterday that curry was very nice, but it was too spicy, my son couldn't eat it. So why don't you put a little less chili in the food? It will be easier for him also to eat it. So the situation is managed very easily. So for that, I first need to remove my own anger from the situation. Only then I will be able to communicate very nicely. I will be able to speak in a very nice but assertive tone. Our target is not to be aggressive. We don't have to be aggressive. We have to be assertive. We have to be firm. If we are aggressive, it, pulls out aggression from the person in front of you. If we are assertive, then the person in front of you can understand what you are saying. So this is the best way in which we can manage conflicts. Okay, some of you were saying that how do we reduce negative thinking in children? The best form to reduce negative thinking in children is to engage them in creative activities, engage them in art therapy, or basically free drawing. When we ask children to draw, like do this experiment, okay? Take 10 children from your house or from your neighborhood or from your relatives. Take 10 children, give them paper and crayons, and tell them to draw. 98% of the children will draw mountains and houses and some trees. Isn't it so? Why is it that? Because we have trained them like that. But that is not free drawing. They have seen it somewhere, or they have been asked to draw like that by their parents or by their drawing teachers, and that is how they are drawing. But after giving sheets and sheets and sheets and sheets of paper, finally a time will come when the person will start drawing more creatively, and that is where actual expression comes out. Okay, so this is one strategy. You can give some musical instruments to the person, to the child, and the person can just bang around. For example, you have given the child a piano and the person just bangs around. It's very noisy, but it can create a very soothing effect within the child. It's basically one kind of acting out and one kind of catharsis, and the child will also feel very calm. For example, just before you want the child to study, just let all these negative energy and excess energy burst out. The best way in which we can help children's mental health is to just engage them in free play, in play without rules. Free play. Okay, so now moving on. Okay, many of you are mentioning about stress because of research work. Now, this is itself an oxymoron, I must say, because why is it that you are doing the research? It is because you actually wanted that phase in your life to come, right? Either you are doing your PhD, or you're doing your MPhil, or even your master's thesis, or you're writing some paper. It is for your own achievement, right? You're doing this. Now, if it is creating stress, you have to find out the factors which are creating stress. The research itself is not creating stress. It is other factors. What can be the other factors? It can be, problem with data collection, or problem with literature review, or just, the entire process. So if you can create a timeline and break it into little bit of, work, it will be much more easier to follow. I'll just give you an example. When I was doing my MPhil, we had to do a thesis, and ours was a 2-year MPhil course, and we had to do a thesis, and I just got 4 months to do the entire research work, to do the entire study. So within the 4 months, I had to, run to different hospitals to collect data, and then along with that, I had to write out the whole thing. And the worst part was, the topic got changed. Like in the beginning, I was, moving in one direction, and after a certain time, with the type of data that was coming in, the topic got changed. So I had a lot of time crunch in that. So I would just, break up the rest of the time in small parts. I would think, okay, I have to finish writing the introduction by tomorrow. So by tomorrow means by tomorrow. I will not make it the day after that. Because if I think, okay, I'll take one more day, I'll just rest today, then the day after that, I'll get a lot more stress. So just break it up into small bits. And as I said, the second point of, stress management I mentioned was using your resources. You can use your family members to help you. For example, all my research scoring was done by my husband while I used to write out the entire thing. I taught him the process of entering it into the computer, and he did that for me. So it was much more easier with his help. So don't feel to ask for help. You help your friends, your friends will help you. So definitely you can use your friends' help in this situation. I'll just have a look at the time. Okay, it's 6:51 right now, and my phone has freeze for some reason. Okay, now I can see myself properly. So anyway, so this is one strategy that you can use. Okay, somebody is mentioning about happiness depending on someone. As I said, it is not an ideal situation wherein your emotional remote will remain with somebody else. Then that person can do anything to make you feel happy. And yeah, I'm kind of stressed with the watch now because I can't see the watch. I can only see the screen. I just need to keep a tab. I don't like to, overstretch any discussion because y'all will be very bored. If I go on talking for 2 hours and 3 hours, on the same topic, it's very boring for the audience. Right. So I see that I have 10 more minutes to complete the discussion. So when the situation is such that somebody else has the power to make you feel happy, then it should raise a big question mark in your mind. Think, what are the things that actually make you happy? It can be music, it can be some other creative form, it can be, meditation. There is no other thing which can give a person as much happiness as much like meditation can do. There are many people who get into different kinds of addiction. Like even addiction cannot give a person that much of happiness which proper techniques of meditation can do. So that is why in my classes I conduct multiple courses. I've done like so many batches of courses on training people how to meditate. Now many people say I have tried meditating but it does not work for me. I can't meditate. There is nothing called I can't meditate. It is basically you are not using the technique that is right for you, because there are more than 1 lakh varieties of meditation. You just have to select the proper meditation technique that will work for you. Every kind of meditation has a different target. For example, if there is somebody who wants to reduce the levels of anxiety, then deeper forms of meditation will not work for that person because the person is so anxious, he or she just can't focus. So mindfulness meditation works beautifully for that person. Now, if there is somebody else who wants to, increase their focus, then Tratak works very nice for them. And somebody mentioned inhale, exhale. Yeah, that is also one kind of meditation. Only if you focus on the breath when you are doing that. What usually happens is people inhale and exhale and they keep thinking, okay, I'm inhaling and I'm exhaling. Okay, I have to do this, I have to do that. I'm getting late, I have to run, I have to catch the bus, and so many other things. What is meditation? Meditation is basically having a control over your thought. So if you all want to discuss more about meditation or want to learn more about meditation, you can just send me a mail or just get in touch with me, and I can send you more data and more topics. Or there is also this WhatsApp group which has been created. I can send certain links which you can use to start practicing meditation. So I would just like to sum up today's discussion so that by the end of the discussion, I think many of you all have forgotten what I started speaking about. First, I discussed about what stress was. Stress is anything which is exhausting your resources. So what are the basic 3 coping strategies? Like there are multiple coping strategies, okay? So I'll just boil it down into 3 coping strategies which are very helpful in coping with stress. One is goal setting. Set very realistic, smart goals, which are simply worded, which are manageable, and which are realistic with a time, and which are achievable, like SMART. Simple. S is simple, M is manageable, A is achievable, R is realistic, and T is timelined. Second is you have to set the goal depending on what is the basic motivating factor behind anything you do. For example, if you're a very fun-loving person, you can set a goal and you can give a reward to yourself. Okay, if I finish writing this chapter of my thesis by this Thursday, then after that I'll give myself a day of break and I'll invite my friends over and we can have a party. So that is a reward that you are giving yourself. So that was the first technique, set a goal. If you reward yourself after completing the goal, then the stress just vanishes. The entire stress of having to complete that chapter by Thursday vanishes when you have that party after that particular goal achievement. The second very important strategy is using your support system, because when we were children, we used to have this song come over on DD National. At that time, we didn't have so many channels happening on TV. We used to have that only one DD National happening. And it used to say, if you are one, you can't do much. But with many people or many things coming together, it will help you achieve anything much faster. I'll just give you another example to highlight this point. It is very easy to break one single matchstick. But if you take many matchsticks and try to break it, like say thousands of matchsticks tied together and then try to break it, it will not be possible for you to break it. So use your support system, use the resources which are present around you. That is the second strategy. Third strategy is getting rid of negativity. Getting rid of negativity, which is adding to the negativity which is already there in your life, like the various negative serials or negative movies or negative discussions or negative news in the newspaper. There is no use constantly talking about how many cases of coronavirus. Okay, there is this person who has been affected right beside my house. It will cause unnecessary stress. We all are taking our own protection. It will not make any sense, to go on and on and on and on about a particular topic which is negative and which creates unnecessary stress in your mind. So that is one thing. Second is write down the sources of negativity. It might be your family members, it might be your friends, it might be, somebody in higher authority position, it might be somebody very close to you, or somebody who actually does not matter to you but is giving you a lot of stress. For example, your neighbors or somebody. So when you write it down, you can just analyze the situation and try to find out why this person is behaving like that. If there is anything which you can, get out of discussion with that person, in a calm manner, just talk it out with that person. For example, it's your mother who's, constantly bickering. Just calm down when she's in a good mood and say, "Ma, please listen, no, when you are saying like that, no, it really hurts me a lot. Just try to understand my situation." And I'm sure in 60% of the cases, she'll understand. And then there are the sources of negativity from yourself also. Be very practical. We are not God. We cannot set, huge expectation on our own head. We are very limited potential wala human beings, and we can only function when we have small goals in our life. And we have to use the same theory for others also. We can't, create a lot of expectation about somebody else. We can't, keep on expecting that somebody will read your mind and will do as you say, right? And the world will not go as you want it to go. So it is better to just take one moment at a time, be mindful of whatever you do. When you're in a lot of stress, I will just say the last and the most important strategy, which I've reserved for the last. Just note it down, because I promise this is going to be the most important strategy that I'm sharing today. That is a technique of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is that strategy? We have 5 sense organs, right? Such sense organs which we cannot buy in spite of paying, crores of rupees. But we never give attention to what we actually have. We always think about what went wrong in my life or what might go wrong in my life. Right? We are never focusing on the present moment. What is the meaning of present? Present means now. Present also means gift. So the present moment is a gift. So focus on the 5 sense organs, 5 colors. That is 5. Just see what are the 5 colors that you can see. For example, when I'm looking at my screen, I can see red, I can see brown, I can see black, I can see, so many other colors, yellow and white. Now, the second thing is 4. Listen to 4 sounds. What are the 4 kind of sounds that you can hear at that moment? Then comes 3. Touch 3 things. 3 things can be something is very soft or very hard or very rough or very cold or hot. 3 things like that. Smell 2 things. Everything has a different smell. For example, I have just washed my hand with soap and my hand might smell of soap. The environment, can have a certain kind of smell to it, or a perfume, or the smell of cooking to it. You can lift up something, a book. An old book has a new smell, a new book has a new smell. And then the last is 1. Just eat something or drink something. Have a glass of water. Focus on the sensation of the water going down your throat. So this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 strategy is like the most powerful strategy that anyone can have in your goodie bag. And I'm sure if you all start using it, just make a habit of using it every day, at least 3 times, and it will be very helpful. So I would like to end the discussion now. I just hope you all can use the things I talked today. I tried to make it very simple for you all to understand, and I wanted to make it very implementable, which you all can actually execute and implement in your life. So I would like the organizers to, if they have any other questions or if somebody has any clarification. All right. Thank you very much for all the positive feedback.
All the participants, Professor Shurovir Bishas from Chapra Bhanji College, she is raising a question, and how to cope up with the stress of raising a special child with critical medical condition.
Okay, this is a very important question. There is a concept, which we have been working on for, many years now, the concept of caregiver's burden, dealing with not only children with special abilities or disabilities or whatever you say, and, it might be somebody very critically in your family, or somebody, or even you yourself might be suffering from some illness. So it is a very stressful situation. First thing is take breaks. The second strategy that I mentioned, use your resources, take breaks, ask for help, understand. Like, there is one thing which I myself also practice a lot in my life. I feel that if there is some factor which is stressful in my life, if God has given me this stressful factor only because I have the power to deal with it. See, you are a person who's probably dealing with a special child, and nobody can love your child like you are doing. And you are doing a great job. Trust me, you are actually doing a great job. You must, pat yourself on the back at times also. It is a stressful situation. And, but just imagine if your child would not have got you as a parent, then situation might have been very different for him or her, right? And take breaks. At least once a week, tell somebody else to take up the responsibility for half a day or like 2 hours. Give yourself time to do things you enjoy in those times. It will be like we charge our phones, right? We don't just leave it and, okay, when I bought the phone, it was charged and I've left it like that. We charge our phone every day. So we must all, not just when we are facing any critical situation like that, everybody must take out time from our very, very busy schedules to recharge ourselves so that we can function much more productively after that. Okay, so I hope I could shed some light on the issue that you are facing, and you can get in touch with me if you're feeling very disturbed, and we can talk more about this. Okay, any other questions?
If you have any questions, dear participants, you can raise those questions by turning on your microphone. There is another question from Barsha Bishas, second students of second semester, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar College. Ma'am,
Okay.
Can anger be a cause of stress
Sorry?
Can
I can't
anger
hear
be
you.
a cause of stress? She is
Anger is definitely a cause of stress. I'll tell you how. For example, I am angry about something and I have shouted about that topic with I have said something ulta pulta and everything, like whatever came to my mind. I've just said those things to the other person. Now, what was the main cause of distress? What was the main cause of anger? That will not remain the issue anymore. The new issue will be what I have said when I was angry. So anger can never solve problems. Assertiveness is important, but aggression is never an answer. So I give you various strategies today. Try practicing that so that you can reduce the amount of anger. Count 5, reduce the amount of anger, and then talk it out with the person who has done something to make you angry. All right. I hope I could answer your question. I could see the comment. Somebody was mentioning about a broken relationship, right?
Hello,
Uh,
ma'am.
yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Huh.
Good evening. Yeah, I can hear you. Tell me.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible to you?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear actually two voices. I would ask you to just speak out one by one.
Ma'am, am I audible to you?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I have a question for you.
Good evening.
Madam, when I go
Okay.
to examination hall, I feel very uneasy. It's the examination
Okay.
hall for me seems like a battlefield. A lots of tensions,
Okay.
stresses, fears come, and I feel so much helpless. So please give me suggestions about this problem.
Okay, the condition you are facing is called exam phobia or exam anxiety. It cannot go away just by me sharing one or two tips. It is a serious condition which requires proper psychotherapy. But I will just try to mention a few factors which will help you in the meantime. One is always take examinations as learning experiences, because every situation can teach us something. Even a fan can teach us something, even a small child can teach us something. Take this examination not as something that something that is being used to judge you. Focus on giving the exam. Try to learn more things while you are giving the exam, because no exam can be the end of your life. Because I seriously feel I have also done a research. I have looked into the various achievers of madhyamik or uच्च madhyamik or various other college university exams. I have seen into the records of the topmost performers, and I have tried to track them down the years of how they have performed ultimately in their life. What I found out was very interesting. What I found out was marks are not related to ultimate success in life. It is definitely important to get good marks, but focus on the knowledge, not on the marks. If you focus on the knowledge, automatically you will get marks. Number one. Number two is give the exam. Enjoy the experience of giving the exam. Take it up as a milestone. For example, a birthday. It is a milestone. We don't get stressed about our birthdays, right? It is a milestone that we are growing 1 year older. So an exam is also a milestone which is happening after you have slogged through the entire year, and finally then there is the milestone and you give the exam and you qualify. Okay, so take it up as a fun exercise, as a learning experience, because I always do that, and it actually has helped me a lot. I have a lot of fun. I used to have a lot of fun when I used to give exams, and I feel very sad that yeah. Tell me.
Actually, ma'am, when I think about my paper and my results, I got more scared. This is my actual problem.
Okay, in Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says that do your work, focus on your work, and don't focus on the result. What is the meaning of that? The meaning of that is doing the work. মানে কর্ম করে যাও, ফলের উপর ফলের আশা করো না. It is not about not expecting results. It's about focusing on your work. Yeah. Exactly. See, you know the statement properly. So you focus on doing your work. As I say in Bengali, কর্ম করা আমার অধিকার ক্ষেত্র, ফল দেওয়া কিন্তু ঈশ্বরের অধিকার ক্ষেত্র। আমি কিন্তু কাজটা করতে পারবো আমার 100% এফর্ট দিয়ে, কিন্তু ফল কি হবে সেটা আমি এক মোমেন্টেও আমার কোনো কন্ট্রোল নেই সেটার উপর। I cannot control what ultimately happens. Just leave it on the future. If you have done your work well, yeah, I'll definitely translate it. Focus on the work. Focus on your own effort. If you feel you have done 100% justice for the preparation, and if you deserve it, if God feels that you deserve it, your result will be good. Now, if you have not done your work, then you can't expect good results, right? You have to do your studies properly. So don't focus on what is going to happen. As I said, focus on the present, not on the past, not on the future. And one exam cannot destroy one's life. It can never be the end of any person's career or any person's life. So just give your exams and see what happens.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable explanation.
Thank you. Somebody else was asking a question, I think.
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah. Hi.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Ma'am, I want to ask something. Actually, this situation always happened with me. I think the situation will go like this, and I'm very happy. I'm expecting something, but at the point, the situation changes, and the thing doesn't go like that which I have thought, and that was very stressful. Maybe it is a relation, maybe it is an exam, anything, but it always happen like that. I'm thinking something, I want that, but at the situation it changed, and it doesn't happen like that. So what to do at that time?
Okay. I would repeat the thing which I mentioned with the previous question. Focus on the present. Why would you even try to think about this will go like that will go like that? There is no use thinking about
No,
the
ma'am, but
future.
something is like that. Yes, I know it will happen. It is like it is a guaranteed thing that it will happen. But at the moment when I am doing that thing, or the situation comes, it changes automatically. I don't know how, but the situation just puzzled them. I don't know why it happens. Actually, the thing I know it will happen, but at that when the situation come for doing that thing, it doesn't go like that.
Okay. Does this happen in most of the cases in your life?
Yes, ma'am. Maximum case.
Okay. I'll give you an example, and I think in that example you will find the answer. Okay. For example, there were a few of the participants in one of the workshops, and they were very late. They entered the hall half an hour after I started my lecture. So I asked them that why were they late, because they have missed out a lot of the discussion. So they said that, ma'am, there is a lot of traffic jam. I told them, okay, no, there is traffic jam. Does it happen every day? They're like, yes, ma'am, that road is very crowded and always there is a traffic jam on that road. I was in a different city at that time. So I told them, see, I am not a resident of this city. You are a resident of this city, and you know that that road is always, very crowded, and there is always a traffic jam on that road. So if you know that there is always a traffic jam, why didn't you get out of your house half an hour early? Okay. So for your situation, I would say, if you know that things change.
No, ma'am. Can I give you an example which happened with me?
Okay.
See, I have talked with a teacher for he will give me tuitions. So I know from this month I will go there and he will give me tuition. But at the moment, at that date, I called him that, sir, shall I come? He said, no, I will not give tuition. Actually, I am cancelling the batch, so you find another teacher. So at that time, what can I do? I don't know what will happen. But I was expecting that I will go to that teacher.
Yeah, I understood. This is just one example that you gave me, and I'm sure that there are many such things which keep happening in your life. So if this is a pattern that is there in your life, always plan for a plan B. It is especially very important for you. Always have a plan B ready.
Okay, ma'am.
Now, if the plan A works very good, you don't have to proceed with plan B, but always have a plan B.
Okay.
Because this is a pattern, right, in your life.
Yes.
So always keep a plan B ready.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So,
Any other question?
This is the situation, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Ma'am, you said that first to set goals That is very important. But
Yeah.
while in the process of achieving goals, anxiety comes. So how to cope up with that anxiety? So please say in this matter.
Use the 5 4 3 2 1 technique that I taught you a few moments back. Whenever anxiety comes, anxiety is very normal. It is a natural reaction. But when the anxiety goes out of hand, that is a problem. We all become anxious in certain situations. When do we get anxious? First, we have to understand why do we feel depressed or angry, and why do we feel anxious. We feel depressed or angry when we think about the past, something that has happened in the past, and we feel anxious when we think about something that will happen in the future. We feel anxious because we feel that we are not being able to achieve the goal. What will happen? What if I don't achieve the goal? So instead of focusing on the future or the past, just focus on the present. Just focus on your efforts. Just focus on now. And how will you do that? Focus on your sense organs. 5 4 3 2 1. It will help you put your focus right now, because our focus of attention is so limited that we cannot focus on multiple things at the same time. Okay, so just focus on the now. Focus on whatever task you have set for yourself that you need to achieve the goal, and keep doing that instead of thinking about what will happen or what might happen. What if it goes wrong, and what if this or what if that happens? Okay. So, is it okay that we end the discussion today, because I have a session just after this? I would ask the organizers to I can just take one more last question. How to activate subconscious mind? Okay, somebody mentioned how to activate subconscious mind. It is a big process. And yeah. Hi.
Good evening, ma'am.
Hello.
Hello,
Good evening.
ma'am.
I can hear you. Tell me.
I am very tense about everything, like exam, whatever. So how do I remove it?
I already discussed about exam anxiety. I think the same thing applies to you also. Okay, somebody asked me a question about exam anxiety. So the same thing actually applies to you. Just focus on your studies, and not on what will happen after your result comes out, or if your parents will scold, or if somebody will laugh at you. Okay. So I would request the organizers to conclude the session today, and it will be nice if you just give a feedback about whether you all liked today's discussion or not.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am, for delivering such wonderful speech, such wonderful lecture, real life situation that we are facing right now. And at the same time, I would like to thank everyone for showing their patience. And we are happy to announce that we are doing a live stream of this session through YouTube. So please go to our website, www.dbrac.ac.in. We will also share this website to the WhatsApp group. You can go from there, and then you can get the link. At the same time, we'll share the feedback form at the website. So give your valuable feedback so that we can organize such kind of program in future. Now I'd like to hand over this space to our librarian, Mr. Jayanto Kumar Nayak, for concluding this session. Jayanto, are you here? Are you getting me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello.
Please conclude the session. Okay. Yes, you are audible. You are audible. Perfectly audible.
Okay. Thank you, madam, for your wonderful speech, and we learned so many things, and we also knew how to control our stress, how to control our anger, and how to mix balance between our life. So thanks a lot for your valuable comments. Hope in near future we'll conduct some kind of a session with you, and hope you will help us. Okay, for providing so much such kind of information. Thank you.
Thank you very
again,
much.
madam.
Thank you.
Thank you. And
All right. Y'all have a very good day and, stay safe and stay very happy. Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you. Bye-bye. And dear participants, the feedback link is available in our website. Please visit www.dbrac.ac.in. From there you can get your feedback link, and after filling the feedback link you will get your certificate. Okay, and this is the new kind of certificate, and you will get separate certificate for yesterday's seminar. Okay, so thanks a lot everybody. Thank you for being with us. Okay, so now it's time to say goodbye to everyone. Okay, thank you.